So I'm here with the Students for Palestine, and I just wanted to understand what are the things that drove them to start this amazing initiative.
So we are the UCL students that are part of this encampment, and something that's driven us is that helplessness that we've all felt over the past 7 months. It was just looking into history, not just to look in awe, but to look and learn. And when we started doing that, we saw that our American brothers and sisters started their encampments, and we knew that historically this has worked. Historically, when Vietnam happened, the students protested and it worked. We know that as a student body across the world, we hold so much power. And so if we can start by holding our institutions accountable for their complicity and their corruption, what we're doing is set an example for governments across the world that no institution is safe from being held accountable. We start with our educational institutions, and eventually we'll amplify and hold accountable our other institutions as well.
One of the things that I find really interesting is that this is also a direct consequence of the fact that the fees to come to the school have become so incredibly high. So has the fact that you're paying like 30,000 plus to do a degree, has that influenced the way in which you see this?
Yes, UCL is known for its big international community, and so they do get a lot of money, and they have investment portfolios, and they do fund all of these companies that are directly involved in this genocide. So I think a part of holding them accountable is making sure that our money is invested in sustainable companies, and there are so many other investment options, and making sure that we are not funding Barclays or BAE systems that are employing our students and using our minds for their own agendas, for their imperialism, for their settler colonialism, for all the massacres that are happening every day. So as students, our university is nothing without us. And if we decide that no, we do not want to be funding genocide, we do not want to be funding drones and civilians, and we do not want to be funding war planes, our university has to meet our demands and divest and boycott all of these companies, because as we mobilize and we want a more sustainable campus, our money should be used to better our world and our futures, so that the next generation do not have to see all of this on their screens every single day. Babies dying, mothers under the rubble looking for their sons. So we want UCL to know that our money and is our money, so we need to have a say. Yeah.
So I wanted your opinions as well regarding the backlash that you have been receiving from both politicians and the media in general. Do you think that the message that is being given specifically to legacy media is truthful to what you're doing here?
Well, what we're doing here is literally just holding the university to account. And I think the fact that the media and that politicians are reacting in such a way, them being themselves complicit in the genocide, shows that what we're doing is working and it's hitting a nerve. So I think it's really important to continue what we're doing, to advocate for our university to be held accountable.
And just to add to that, there was something that the first Prime Minister of the Zionist state said, which is that the old will die and the young will forget. And when we, as the students, the young, when we rise up and we say we will not forget, we are undoing billions and billions of pounds and decades of propaganda. And when they see that they've for years and years tried to say the students, the young are lost, and when the youth rise up against that propaganda and they see that their propaganda has failed, they're shivering, so they're scared or whatever. They're being shown that what they have tried to do for decades and decades has failed, and that we, the students, we will not forget, and we will not let anybody else forget either.
I think a huge part of this has been us taking the control of the narrative ourselves because of social media. As we have seen the Palestinians do, we are rewriting our own history and we are telling our side, and a lot of the time we see that the media is homogenous and they have bias and they have all these lobbies that work with them, so they only project one side of the story. And it has been that case for the 75 years that we have seen Palestine colonized. So what has fundamentally changed is that maybe the media is covering the student encampments in the US and in the UK in the beginning, and then it dies down because it's amazing and it's electrifying in the beginning, and then people forget it's just another camp that just popped up on another campus. But we have social media, and we are continuing to broadcast what we're doing and continuing to educate, continuing to gather support and to bring the community together and taking this forward ourselves. And as I said, rewriting our history and making sure that the next generation, when they come, they do not just have this restricted, suppressed version that we have had for years now, and they have the truth that we have said ourselves, and it's all there on social media, in the records, in the archives. It will all be there.
Like, have you guys noticed any type of suppression in social media?
Yeah, so I think the one, everybody knows this word, shadow banning. It's one of the things that I guess it's social media's biggest tool, Meta's biggest tool right now is shadow banning, where the people that post and share about Palestine, about Gaza, about any atrocities happening in the world, their stories are pushed to the end. There's less views, their posts are shared less, but we're beating them. And I feel like what this shows is that it's always the humans that will have the power. Like, no matter how advanced technology gets, it's always us that will have power and the control and the ability to influence it. I think it's so easy in this generation. We live in such a technological age to fall into a doom and gloom, like fatalistic mindset of technology is going to end us all. When we see things like this, that despite all this suppression and shadow banning, Palestine is still coming out on top on social media. It shows that technology hasn't got nothing on us, and that it really is us with the power and all of that.
I think building on what she has said, a lot of the social media accounts, social media platforms are owned by conglomerates. Yeah. So Meta, for example, they have had similar tactics of shadow banning content or introducing policies where they don't show you, they filter your political content, and they have not made their consumers aware of this. But a lot of good has come out of it at the same time, because people have been collaborating together, like different platforms, different figures. They've been collaborating to make sure that the posts are being viewed. And like she said, this brings the community and the digital platforms that people have together, and we hold more power when we are united. And it's a very unifying effect that we're having, where everybody is kind of becoming more conscious of biases and the censorship and the suppression that goes on online.
So I just wanted to talk a bit. I'm sure the voice recording has heard the sound of the helicopter above, and what that brought to the forefront of my mind is the videos that come out of Gaza, where you hear in the background the sound of drones. So as people are trying to send their message to us, you hear in the background the sound of drones that are dropping bombs on them. Here we are today, sleeping in tents, protesting a genocide with helicopters whirring off of us, and all I can think about is the parallels between us and Gaza. And what that brings to the forefront of my mind is really the crux of why we are here, is that our struggle is the same. What all this that shows is that our struggle is the same. 7 months ago, Gazans were in tents, and we were holding up signs saying we support them, and now we are in tents and they are spray painting their tents saying they are in solidarity with us. It is a reciprocal movement. Their freedom is our freedom, and our liberation is their liberation. It is a reciprocal struggle, and this just confirms it.